The Felician Ambassador Tillich rose from his seat. I have studied human development closely these past years. They have advanced more peacefully and cooperatively than any species in Council records. Tillich presented evidence of humanity's achievements. The asteroid defense system, the sustainable Mars colony, and most surprising to many Council members, human solutions to problems that had plagued galactic civilization for centuries. Humans have developed a cure for the Zenturian genetic degradation, Tillich revealed. This caused a stir among the Zenturian representatives, whose species had suffered from a wasting disease for generations. Martinez stepped forward. We come before you not as supplicants this time, but as equals. We do not ask for your protection or approval. We ask for recognition of what we have already become, a spacefaring civilization ready to join the galactic community. The debate lasted for hours. Some council members remained firmly opposed to lifting the containment. Others, impressed by human achievements, argued for a compromise. Finally, Vex Moore called for a vote. The chamber fell silent as each representative registered their decision. When the results appeared on the central display, Vex Moore announced, "By majority decision, the Council lifts the containment protocol on humanity. Earth and its colonies are granted associate status in the Galactic Council, with review for full membership in 50 years. It wasn't complete acceptance, but it was a victory. Humanity would be allowed to expand to nearby star systems, engage in trade with other species, and participate in Council affairs as associates rather than full members." As the Earth delegation left the Council chambers, Vex Moore approached Martins privately. "There is something you should know," he said quietly. "The rejection 20 years ago, it was not simply a judgment. It was a test." Martinez looked at him with surprise. Throughout our history, species that joined the Council too easily often failed to develop their full potential, but those who faced adversity and overcame it became our strongest members. Vex Moore's eyes held a hint of respect. No species has ever progressed so quickly after rejection, or shown such resilience. "You risked our extinction," Martins said, thinking of the asteroid crisis. "We monitored the situation. Had you truly faced extinction, exceptions would have been made." Vex Moore paused. "But you exceeded all expectations. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You united when we thought you would fragment. You innovated when we thought you would stagnate." As Martinez rejoined her team, she shared Vex Moore's revelation. Brooks smiled slightly. "So their rejection was the best thing that could have happened to us." "Perhaps," Fuller said. "But we succeeded not because of their test, but because of who we are." Rejected by the Council, humanity rose even stronger. Bennett looked out at the stars visible through Nexus 7's windows. "And our journey is just beginning." The Council called an emergency session on Nexus 7. Representatives from all 27 species gathered in the Great Chamber. The mood was tense as Zor Thax, now a senior Council member, displayed evidence of human expansion beyond their solar system. "This is a clear violation of the containment protocol," he said. "Humans have developed technologies beyond their expected level and established an unauthorized colony." The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Some representatives demanded immediate sanctions. Others called for military action to enforce the containment. When the Earth delegation arrived, they were not the humble petitioners of 20 years ago. Secretary General Martinez led them, along with Admiral Fuller, Dr. Brooks, and Captain Bennett, who had been recalled from Alpha Centauri. The Earth representatives entered the chamber with confidence. They wore no special uniforms or elaborate diplomatic attire, just simple, dignified clothing that reflected humanity's practical nature. Council leader Vex Moore, still holding the position after 2 decades, called the session to order. "Representatives of Earth, you stand accused of violating the containment protocol. How do you respond?" Bennett stepped forward. Unlike Brooks and Hudson 20 years ago, he showed no nervousness, no awe at the assembled aliens. "We acknowledge that we have expanded beyond our solar system," he said simply. "We did what any living species would do. We grew, we explored, We survived. Your growth was restricted for good reason, Zorthax countered. Your species was deemed too volatile, too unpredictable. Admiral Fuller spoke next. And yet when crisis came, a crisis your council observed but did not help with, we did not fall into chaos. We united, we innovated, we saved our worlds. Dr. Brooks activated a display showing humanity's technological achievements over the past 20 years. We developed these technologies not to threaten others, but to ensure our survival and progress. After the asteroid crisis, a new mood swept across human settlements. The successful defense had saved both Earth and Mars. More importantly, it had proven that humanity could solve its own problems without the Council's help. In a secure meeting room beneath the Unity headquarters in Geneva, Secretary General Martinez met with the leaders of the Unity Initiative. The room was designed to block any possible surveillance, even the advanced systems used by Council observers. The containment protocol is a cage, Martinez said, one we've outgrown. Admiral Fuller nodded. We now have the technology to reach nearby stars. We should use it. Not everyone agreed. Some feared provoking the Council. Others worried about spreading human forces too thin. The debate lasted for days, but finally, a decision was reached. Operation Pathfinder would send explorer ships beyond the solar system, using Dr. Carter's signature masking technology to hide from Council sensors. Captain Steve Bennett was chosen to lead the mission. At 42, he had commanded exploration missions to the outer planets and had a reputation for careful judgment. His ship, the Venture was officially listed as a research vessel studying the Kuiper Belt. In reality, it carried humanity's most advanced technologies and a crew selected from the best scientists and engineers. We'll be making history, Bennett told his crew as they prepared to leave Earth orbit. The first humans to intentionally travel beyond our solar system. Dr. Brooks, now in her 60s but still sharp as ever, had helped design the mission. Remember, your primary goal is to find habitable worlds. Avoid contact with any Council species if possible. The Venture departed a month later, using modified gravity drives to accelerate beyond anything the Council would expect from human technology. 3 other ships followed in the next 6 months, each taking a different direction toward nearby star systems. Bennett's ship reached Alpha Centauri in just under a year, a journey that should have taken decades with the technology the Council believed humans possessed. They found a habitable moon orbiting a gas giant in the system. Using fabrication technology developed on Mars, they established a small outpost on the surface. Send the signal back to Earth, Bennett ordered once the outpost was functional. Operation Pathfinder is a success. While the explorers established these hidden outposts, diplomat Heather Wilson undertook an equally dangerous mission. Using her position as Earth's official representative for any Council communications, she secretly contacted several Council members who had shown sympathy toward humans during the original petition. Wilson met with the Felician ambassador Tilak on a neutral trading station where Council observers rarely ventured. They spoke in a private room secured against surveillance. "My people have been watching your progress," Tilak said. "Many of us are impressed by how you handled the asteroid crisis. Then help us challenge the containment protocol," Wilson urged. "It's unjust and unnecessary." Tilak's expression was hard to read on his alien face. "Several Council members agree with you. The Felicians, the Midorians, and even the Zertil have questioned the severity of the protocol. But the Arcadian and Zenturian factions control the majority. What would it take to change their minds? Evidence that humans are ready for interstellar relations. Proof that you can act responsibly on a galactic scale." Wilson shared carefully selected information about human technological progress, enough to impress, but not enough to alarm. Tilak promised to advocate for humanity's cause among sympathetic Council members. These secret diplomatic efforts continued for months. Slowly, Wilson built a coalition of 4 species willing to support humanity's petition for the containment to be lifted. Then disaster struck. A Council enforcement vessel detected unusual energy signatures near Alpha Centauri and moved to investigate. They discovered Bennett's outpost, clear evidence that humans had violated the containment protocol. An emergency signal reached Earth. Martinez called an urgent meeting of Unity leadership. The Council knows, Fuller reported grimly. They've sent ships to Alpha Centauri. Brooks looked worried. What about Bennett and his crew? They're following contingency protocols. But the Council will be coming here next. They'll demand explanations. Martinez stared out the window at the rebuilt Geneva skyline. Then we'll give them explanations. But not as supplicants this time. Her voice was firm. We meet them as equals. 20 years after the Council's rejection, the alarm sounded across every human settlement in the solar system. Dr. Lisa Brooks, now director of the Deep Space Monitoring Program, stared at the data in disbelief. The tracking stations beyond Neptune had detected a massive cluster of asteroids heading toward the inner solar system. Run the calculations again, she ordered her team. The results came back unchanged. A group of asteroids, disturbed by gravitational anomalies at the edge of the solar system, was on a collision course with Earth and Mars. The largest was nearly 10 miles across, big enough to cause an extinction-level event. Brooks immediately notified Secretary General Martinez, who called an emergency meeting of the Unity Council. How much time do we have? Martinez asked when the world leaders gathered. 8 months until first impact, Brooks replied. The asteroids will hit Mars first, then Earth 2 weeks later. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. We need to contact the Galactic Council, someone suggested. Surely they won't let 2 inhabited planets be destroyed. Admiral Fuller, his hair now gray after 2 decades of leading the space fleet, shook his head. We already received a message from them. They're aware of the situation. He played the transmission. Council leader Vex Moore's face appeared on screen. People of Earth, we have detected the asteroid cluster approaching your planets. This is what our protocols classify as a natural evolutionary filter. The Council's non-interference policies prevent us from intervening in such events. This is regrettable but part of the natural selection process for developing species. How you handle this crisis will determine your civilization's future. The transmission ended. The room erupted in angry shouts and desperate suggestions. Martinez raised her hand for silence. We are on our own, as we have been for 20 years. But we are not the same civilization, the Council judged back then. We have technologies they don't know about. She turned to Engineer Rodriguez, now in charge of advanced propulsion systems. Can we evacuate both planets? Rodriguez shook his head. Not everyone. We don't have enough ships or time. Then we fight, said Governor Mitchell, joining remotely from Mars. We use everything we've developed. For the next month, every resource was directed toward asteroid defense. Rodriguez revealed his gravity manipulation technology, now advanced enough to affect objects at a distance. Dr. Carter's team contributed deflection arrays that could alter the path of smaller asteroids. The combined fleet of Earth and Mars prepared for the most ambitious mission in human history. Admiral Fuller stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance *, watching as hundreds of ships gathered in Earth orbit. The fleet included everything from massive carriers to small, agile fighters. Each was equipped with technologies the Council would be surprised to learn humans possessed. This is Admiral Fuller to all ships, he broadcast. 20 years ago, an alien council told us we weren't ready for the galaxy. Today, we proved them wrong. Not by running away, but by standing our ground and protecting our homes. The fleet departed Earth orbit, using Rodriguez's gravity drives to reach the asteroid cluster in just 2 weeks, rather than the months it would have taken with conventional engines. When they arrived, Fuller divided the fleet into tactical groups. The largest ships would tackle the biggest asteroids, using gravity manipulators to alter their trajectories. Smaller vessels would handle the countless smaller rocks. Fuller watched the tactical display as the first ships engaged. The Defiance shuddered as its gravity beam locked onto a massive asteroid. Full power to the gravitational array, Fuller ordered. Push it off course, just like in the simulations. Across the fleet, similar scenes played out. Some ships used physical impacts to change asteroid paths. Others deployed Carter's deflection technology. The smallest vessels acted as scouts, identifying threats and coordinating responses. It wasn't perfect. Some ships were lost, crushed by unexpected asteroid movements, or overwhelmed by debris. But the fleet kept fighting, kept pushing, kept protecting their worlds. Unknown to the humans, Council observers watched the battle from cloaked vessels. They had expected humans to attempt evacuation or primitive deflection methods. Instead, they saw technologies that should have been beyond human capabilities: instant communications, gravity manipulation, energy deflection systems. One observer sent an urgent message to Nexus 7. The containment may have failed. Humans have developed far beyond our projections. 5 years passed quickly. The Unity Initiative transformed human society in ways no one expected. Old enemies became partners. Resources once spent on weapons now funded science and exploration. The shared goal of proving the Council wrong united humanity more effectively than any treaty or war. Dr. Alan White's team at the Lunar Research Base achieved the first major breakthrough. They developed a quantum communication system based on principles observed at Nexus 7. The system allowed instant communication across the entire solar system, removing the delay that had always hampered space operations. Send the test message, White instructed his assistant, Karen Mills. Mills typed a simple greeting and pressed the transmit button. On Mars, 8 light minutes away, the message appeared instantly on the receiver. "It works," Mills exclaimed. White allowed himself a small smile. The team had worked 18-hour days for months to reach this point. On Mars, change was happening just as rapidly. Governor Kelly Mitchell had transformed the Red Planet from a collection of research stations into a thriving society. The Mars colony was now home to over 1 million people. Their dome cities gleamed under the pale Martian sun, surrounded by green fields where specially engineered plants grew in the thin atmosphere. Mitchell walked through the central dome of New Olympus, the largest city on Mars. Children who had never seen Earth played in parks designed by the world's best architects. Scientists from nations that had once threatened each other with nuclear weapons now worked side by side in advanced laboratories. "Governor, we have visitors," her assistant said, pointing to a small dot in the sky. Mitchell frowned. The dot wasn't a supply ship or personnel transport. It moved too smoothly, too quickly. "Council observers," she said quietly. Ever since the rejection, alien drones occasionally appeared to monitor human activity. They never interfered, never communicated, just watched and reported back to the Council. "Let them look," Mitchell said. "We have nothing to hide." But that wasn't entirely true. In a research facility buried deep beneath the Martian surface, engineer Paul Rodriguez was developing something the observers weren't meant to see. Rodriguez stood in a vast underground chamber, watching as his team activated the prototype gravity manipulation system. The device, no larger than a refrigerator, created a field that could alter the weight of objects within its range. "Increase power to 50%, he ordered. A 1-ton block of Martian stone began to float as if it weighed no more than a feather. "The mining applications alone will revolutionize our expansion," his colleague said. Rodriguez nodded, but his thoughts went further. The same technology could eventually be applied to spacecraft, making interstellar travel possible despite the Council's restrictions. Back on Earth, Dr. Olivia Carter worked on an equally important project at the Pacific Research Institute. Her team had discovered how to mask certain technological signatures from alien detection systems. Carter studied the readings from their latest test. "The shielding is working," she told her team. The drone that passed overhead yesterday recorded nothing from this facility. Her discovery meant that humans could develop certain technologies without the Council's knowledge. It wasn't defiance, she told herself, just insurance. Across the solar system, from Mercury's solar collectors to the ice mines of Neptune's moons, humanity expanded and developed. The outer planets, once considered too distant for practical use, now hosted research stations and mining operations. Jupiter's moons held thriving communities focused on specific research areas. Secretary General Martinez, now in her second term, received regular updates from all these projects. In her office at the United Nations, she reviewed the progress reports with satisfaction. 5 years ago, they told us to stay in our corner of the galaxy and grow up, she said to her advisors. We've done more in 5 years than they thought we could do in 50. Commander Fuller, now Admiral Fuller and head of the Unified Space Fleet, nodded in agreement. But the Council still watches. They still believe we need 2 centuries of containment. Martinez's expression hardened. Then we'll continue to prove them wrong. Year by year, breakthrough by breakthrough. What none of them knew was that their unity and progress would soon face an unexpected test, a crisis that would either confirm the Council's doubts or prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. The trip back to Earth was silent and heavy. Brooks spent hours staring at the stars, wondering how the Council could judge humanity so harshly. Hudson reviewed the recordings of the hearing, looking for anything they could have said differently. Commander Fuller tried to keep the crew's spirits up, but the disappointment was too deep. Humanity had reached for the stars and been told to stay in their corner of the galaxy. When they entered Earth orbit, news of their return spread quickly. World leaders gathered at the United Nations headquarters in New York to hear the Council's decision. Brooks and Hudson stood before the General Assembly. Cameras broadcast their report to billions of people around the world and across the colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. The Galactic Council has rejected our petition for membership, Hudson announced. His voice was steady, but his eyes showed his frustration. They have imposed a containment protocol that restricts humanity to our solar system for 200 years. The room erupted in angry shouts and questions. Secretary General Diane Martinez called for order. She was a tall woman with gray hair and eyes that had seen many global crises. What reasons did they give? She asked when the room quieted. Brooks stepped forward. They consider us too volatile and unpredictable. Our divisions, our conflicts, our environmental challenges, they see these as signs that we're not ready. 200 years, shouted the representative from the Mars colony. Our expansion plans depend on reaching nearby star systems within decades, not centuries. The Russian delegate stood. Perhaps we should ignore this council. What power do they have to stop us? Their technology is centuries beyond ours. Fuller warned from his seat near the back. Challenging them directly would be disastrous. Martinez called for a break. As delegates argued in small groups, Brooks slipped away to a quiet balcony overlooking the East River. The weight of humanity's rejection pressed on her shoulders. She was surprised when Dr. Alan White joined her. The quantum physicist from the Lunar Research Base was rarely on Earth. I heard what happened, he said simply. Brooks nodded. We failed. Did we? White leaned against the railing. Or did they just give us a challenge? Brooks looked at him with curiosity. I've been studying the scans you took of Nexus 7, White continued. Their technology is advanced, yes, but not incomprehensible. There are patterns, principles we can learn from. What are you suggesting? That rejection doesn't mean the end. It means we need to prove them wrong. White's eyes lit up with excitement. While you were away, I made a breakthrough in quantum field manipulation based on the alien transmission patterns. We can develop our own path forward. Brooks felt a small spark of hope for the first time since the Council's decision. When the session resumed, Martinez called for ideas. Nations argued for different approaches. Some wanted to build military strength. Others suggested accepting the Council's judgment and focusing on internal development. Brooks stood. I propose a third option, the Unity Initiative, a global collaboration to accelerate our development and prove the Council wrong. She explained White's discoveries and the potential they held. If we work together, sharing resources and knowledge across all nations and colonies, we can achieve in decades what might otherwise take centuries. Hudson backed her plan. The council expected us to react with anger or submission. Let's surprise them with unity and innovation. The debate lasted for days. Not everyone agreed at first, but gradually, the idea gained support. Even former rivals saw the benefit of cooperation against an external challenge. 1 month after the return from Nexus 7, Secretary General Martinez signed the Unity Accord. All nations and colonies committed resources to a shared goal, advancing humanity beyond the Council's expectations. As the ceremony concluded, White approached Brooks. "This is just the beginning," he said. "The real work starts now." Brooks looked at the unity displayed in the assembly hall. Nations that had once been enemies now planning a shared future. "Maybe the Council did us a favor," she said quietly. "Nothing unites people like a common challenge." The Council chamber was enormous. Brooks and Hudson stood on a circular platform in the center of the room. Around them, rising in tiered seating, sat representatives from 27 alien civilizations. Some looked almost human, others were completely strange. Beings of light, creatures with multiple limbs, and forms that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Council leader Vex Moore, a tall being with silvery skin and eyes like black pools, raised a hand for silence. "We gather to hear the petition of humanity for admission to the Galactic Council. Dr. Lisa Brooks and diplomat Grave Hudson will present their case." Hudson stepped forward first. "Honored members of the Council, we come before you with humility and hope. Humanity is young compared to your civilizations, but we have achieved much in our brief history." Brooks activated the presentation they had prepared. Holographic images appeared above the platform. Earth's greatest artistic achievements, scientific discoveries, and moments of unity. "In just a few thousand years, we went from simple farming communities to a multi-planet civilization," Brooks explained. "We've begun to understand the fundamental laws of the universe, developed technologies to extend our reach beyond our home world, and created works of art that capture the depth of our emotions and dreams." The presentation showed scenes of human cooperation, international space missions, global responses to natural disasters, scientific breakthroughs made by researchers from different countries working together. "We have our flaws," Hudson admitted. "Our history contains conflict and violence, but each generation has worked to learn from these mistakes and build a better world." Brooks noticed some council members leaning forward with interest. A small being with delicate features and glowing skin, a Felician, according to their briefing, seemed particularly engaged by the music and art they showed. "Humans have a remarkable capacity for empathy," Hudson continued. "We can understand perspectives different from our own, imagine new possibilities, and find common ground even with those who seem very different from us. This quality would serve us well as members of the galactic community." The presentation concluded with images of Earth's children, playing, learning, dreaming of the stars. "We seek membership not only for ourselves, but for future generations," Brooks said. "We have much to learn from you, and perhaps something to offer in return." When they finished, there was silence. Then the Felician spoke. "I am Ambassador Leary. Your art forms are fascinating. Such emotion, such diversity of expression. I sense great creative potential in your species." Another member, a massive being with rock-like skin, rumbled in response. "Creative, yes, but unstable. Your planet still battles climate change of your own making. Your nations maintain weapons of mass destruction. You are divided by borders, religions, ideologies." Zorthax, who had first contacted them, added, "The Council must consider the security of all member civilizations. A species that cannot fully unite its own world may not be ready for the responsibilities of interstellar relations." For hours, the debate continued. Some council members seemed supportive, others deeply skeptical. Brooks and Hudson answered countless questions about Earth's governance, scientific capabilities, and social structures. Finally, Council leader Vex Moore called for silence. "We have heard enough. The Council will deliberate. Representatives of Earth, please withdraw." Brooks and Hudson were led to a waiting room. Through the window, they could see the vast expanse of Nexus 7 and the stars beyond. "What do you think?" Brooks asked quietly. Hudson frowned. "It's close. Some support us, but the dominant voices seem opposed." 3 hours later, they were summoned back to the chamber. The mood seemed heavier, more formal. Vexmore stood. "Representatives of Earth, the Council has reached its decision." Brooks felt her heart racing as Vexmore continued. "After careful consideration of your petition and extensive debate, the Galactic Council has decided to reject humanity's application for membership." A murmur ran through the chamber. Brooks felt as if the floor had dropped away beneath her. Humanity is deemed too volatile, unpredictable, and potentially dangerous at this stage of your development. The Council hereby establishes a containment protocol. Your species will be restricted to your home solar system for a minimum period of 200 Earth years until you have demonstrated sufficient maturity and unity. Hudson stepped forward. "With respect, we ask the Council to reconsider." "The decision is final," Vexmore stated firmly. "You will return to Earth with our verdict. The Council has spoken." The journey to Nexus 7 took 12 days. Dr. Lisa Brooks spent most of that time studying the information package provided by the Galactic Council. The data showed a vast network of civilizations spanning thousands of star systems. Some species had been spacefaring for millions of years. Compared to them, humans were infants taking their first steps. "We need to make a strong impression," Greg Hudson said as he joined her in the observation room. Outside the window, stars streaked by as the Horizon traveled using the modified drive system the Council had allowed them to implement. "Look at these technological benchmarks," Brooks pointed to her screen. "Most species take thousands of years to go from combustion engines to space travel. We did it in less than a century." Hudson nodded. "That's our angle. We're adaptable, innovative. We learn quickly." Commander Fuller entered the room. "We're approaching the coordinates. You might want to see this." They followed him to the bridge. As they exited faster than light travel, a massive structure came into view. Nexus 7 wasn't a station as they had imagined. It was an artificial world, a sphere the size of Earth's moon, with countless lights glittering across its surface. "My God," Brooks whispered. Ships of various sizes and shapes moved around the station. Some were elegant and streamlined, others bulky and functional. The Horizon looked primitive in comparison. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. "Earth vessel, follow the guidance beacon to docking bay 4291. A voice instructed. Fuller carefully guided the ship toward their assigned bay. As they approached, massive doors opened, revealing a cavernous space filled with other vessels. After docking, Brooks and Hudson prepared to disembark. They wore their best formal attire, Brooks in a navy blue suit and Hudson in diplomatic blacks with the United Nations insignia. "Remember, we represent all of humanity," Hudson said quietly. When the airlock opened, they were greeted by a tall, slender being with copper-colored skin and 4 arms. "Welcome to Nexus 7. I am Zyla, your liaison. Please follow me." As they walked through the station, Brooks tried not to stare at the variety of beings they passed. Some were roughly humanoid, others completely alien. Floating gas clouds contained in energy fields, insectoid creatures clicking along on multiple legs, beings that seemed made of living crystal. They entered a large circular room with a window overlooking a garden filled with plants from dozens of worlds. Several beings were already present. "These are representatives from various council species," Zyla explained. "They wish to meet you informally before tomorrow's hearing." A bulky reptilian being approached them. "I am Krell, biology expert for the council," it said through a translation device. "Fascinating to meet humans in person. Your physiology is quite primitive. Single heart, no redundant organs, minimal regeneration capabilities." Brooks felt a flash of irritation. We manage quite well with what we have. Another alien, with feathered skin and bright eyes, joined them. Your adaptability compensates for physical limitations. I studied your history, from stone tools to space travel in a mere 50,000 years. Impressive. Not all find it impressive, said a new voice, a tall blue-skinned being. An Arcadian, like Zorthax, entered the room. I am Council Member Jevnar. Your rapid development concerns many of us. Species that advance too quickly often lack the wisdom to use their knowledge responsibly. Hudson stepped forward. We hope to demonstrate that humanity is ready for the responsibilities of council membership. Jevnar made a gesture that might have been skeptical. Your planet still suffers from conflict. You have weapons that could destroy your civilization. We are working to overcome those challenges, Hudson replied diplomatically. Working, yes. But have you succeeded? Jevnar turned away. Tomorrow you present your case. The council will judge if you are ready. Rest well. After the aliens departed, Brooks and Hudson were shown to their quarters. The rooms were comfortable but clearly designed for multiple species. That didn't go well, Brooks said, sinking into a chair that adjusted to her body. Hudson looked thoughtful. Actually, it went exactly as I expected. They're testing us, seeing how we handle criticism. And tomorrow we show them what humanity is truly capable of. Commander Jack Fuller stared at the blinking light on his console. The signal was unlike anything he had seen before. It pulsed in a clear pattern that couldn't be natural. After 20 years in space, Fuller knew the difference between random noise and intelligent communication. Computer, analyze signal origin, he said. Signal originates beyond Pluto's orbit, within the Kuiper belt. Pattern suggests artificial construction, the computer replied. Fuller rubbed his tired eyes. The exploration vessel Horizon had been patrolling the outer reaches of the solar system for 3 months. Their mission was to map resources and identify potential locations for mining outposts. Finding signs of alien life wasn't in the mission brief. Contact Earth Command, Fuller ordered. The face of Admiral Kathy Warren appeared on screen. Her expression was serious as always, but her eyes widened slightly when Fuller shared his discovery. Are you certain it's not one of our old probes? She asked. Negative, Admiral. The signal uses quantum frequencies we haven't even developed yet. Something or someone is out there, and they're trying to communicate. Warren nodded slowly. Hold position. We're sending a science team to your location. Do not attempt contact. 7 days later, Dr. Lisa Brooks floated through the airlock of the Horizon. The NASA quantum physicist had been rushed from the Mars Research Station along with a team of specialists. Show me everything, she said to Fuller without bothering with introductions. Fuller led her to the command center where the signal data had been collected. Brooks spent hours analyzing the patterns, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. It's an invitation, she finally announced, and instructions for responding. Greg Hudson, the diplomat who had arrived with Brooks, looked skeptical. You decoded an alien language in 6 hours. Brooks shook her head. No, it's not language. It's mathematics. Universal constants arranged in a way that can only be deliberate. They're showing us how to modify our communication systems to reach them. 3 days later, after endless debates among Earth's leaders, permission was granted to respond. Brooks adjusted the Horizon's communication array according to the pattern. Fuller watched as she sent humanity's first deliberate message to alien intelligence, a simple mathematical sequence confirming their understanding. The response was immediate. A holographic image appeared in the center of the command deck, showing a humanoid figure with blue-tinted skin and elongated features. People of Earth, the figure said in perfect English, surprising everyone present. I am Representative Zorthax of the Galactic Council. We have observed your civilization for many centuries. Your recent expansion beyond your home planet suggests you are ready for first contact. Fuller and Brooks exchanged shocked glances as Hudson stepped forward. We are honored to meet you, Hudson said. I am Diplomat Greg Hudson, representing the United Nations of Earth. Zorthax nodded. The Council governs relations between 27 spacefaring civilizations. We extend an invitation to humanity to present your case for membership, which would grant access to our knowledge, trade networks, and protection. We would be grateful for such an opportunity, Hudson replied carefully. A formal hearing will be arranged at Nexus 7, our neutral meeting station. You may select 2 representatives to present humanity's petition. After the transmission ended, the Horizon's command deck erupted in excited voices. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, and they had been invited to join an interstellar community. 2 weeks later, after intense global deliberation, Dr. Lisa Brooks and Greg Hudson were selected to represent Earth, as scientists, diplomats, and military officers prepared them for the mission. Brooks felt both excitement and fear. What if they find us lacking? She asked Hudson one evening as they reviewed first contact protocols. Hudson looked thoughtful. Then we'll prove ourselves worthy, one way or another. Humanity has faced rejection before. It only makes us try harder. The Horizon was retrofitted for the longer journey. On the day of departure, millions watched worldwide as the ship lifted off, carrying humanity's hopes toward the stars. Folder watched Earth shrink in the view screen. Next stop, Nexus 7, he said quietly. Let's go meet the neighbors.